Hey, how's it going? Hopefully you're having a wonderful Sunday. I had a spectacular evening last night. I had so much fun. Went to a nice new restaurant, attended a concert. I really, really had a good time last night. I'm not sure if you saw my prior live that I made earlier in the day as I was getting ready. But anyway, I really had a good time. But anyway, I'm just shooting this quick live right now because I'm on my way to check out my buddy Sam. I've mentioned him a couple of times in the other videos and stuff. But anyway, I'm about to go check Sam out. But as I was driving, I was just thinking, it's crazy how we meet certain people and they have such a big impact on our lives. And again, it could be someone that you meet that it can be like a short encounter with this person, but nevertheless they can still have a big impact on us. So, it's just depending on what information that we exchange with the person or things like that. And the reason that I'm thinking about that is a couple of years back, I think this was in 2008, my number one real estate mentor, Ron LeGrand, was holding an event. I think the event was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Back in 2008. And what's so funny is, again, like I mentioned, this is my real estate mentor, but this particular boot camp was on internet and information marketing, right? And for some reason, when he had like the list of the different boot camps, that one really stuck out and really captured my attention. So my wife and I decided to attend the boot camp, right? But and it was a very, very good boot camp. I learned a lot of stuff, and it exposed me to a whole new industry and way of thinking, and it was great. But I had no idea how impactful it was going to be, because someone that I met, and this person probably doesn't even know it because I never mentioned it until today. I thought about it a couple of times. But anyway, while we were at the seminar, I met a gentleman and his wife. His name, he goes by the name of Mr. Tycoon, right? And he's a very successful real estate investor based out of Atlanta, right? And I met him and his wife. And believe it or not, it was just a short meeting, when I met him at the seminar. We weren't even sitting close to each other. He was like sitting towards the front. Well, not towards the front. He was sitting at the front, and I was just really impressed by him. So I was like, hey, I want to meet this guy. So anyway, we met, and we exchanged information. I think he gave me a business card or whatever, right? But like I said, it was really a short meet. We didn't even speak a minute. It was like maybe 30 seconds tops. We shook hands and exchanged information, right? But what he did is he gave me his business card, right? And on his business card, I believe he had like his website and stuff. And later on when we got back home, I checked out his information, and this was back when this is 2008. This was back when MySpace was big, right? And at that particular time, I think the main reason why that particular boot camp interests me is because a good friend of mine, he had an idea that he wanted to start a kids clothing line. And again, the whole concept was match your dream. If you've been looking at my stuff at any point in time, you see I always use the hashtag match your dreams. because that came back from the character Max the Turtle, which is something else that had a major impact on my life. But I'll save that for another video. But getting back, staying on task with the story, is when I checked out his information, he had something about his MySpace or whatever on there, you know. So this was the time where I was looking, you know, online and just learning the whole MySpace stuff or whatever. And I went to his page, and the people that he had on his page, I had never heard of these people. You know, so many personal development mentors and stuff, and it was just so cool. And I remember so clearly, I heard something from Jim Rohn, right? It was Jim Rohn talking, and it was mixed with music, and it was unbelievable, the impact that had on me, you know, because I was like, who is this guy, you know? And I was just so impressed and just like floored by the things that he was saying. It was a short, you know, he was like making little statements. You know, if you follow Jim Rohn, you know, he has like the catchy little statements and stuff, and just a way that he plays with words, and it really captivates you, you know. And that was it. You know, from that moment on, you know, I was infected by the personal development bug, you know, and ever since then, you know, I've just been deep diving and learning and trying to improve myself and sharing things that I learn with other people. And you know, it's crazy. I just find it so weird that this information existed all these years, but I didn't know about it. You know, I guess the circles that I associated in, you know, that's not something that we spoke about. It's not something that we shared with each other. But they always say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. You know, so I guess at that point in my life, you know, I was ready. You know, so there's so many good parts of this little story that I just shared. But I would have to say the main good point is I'm glad I decided to speak to Mr. Tycoon that day and introduce myself and get his information, you know, because it was very impactful, you know, and there was so many people at this seminar, you know. There were hundreds of people, even to the point later on. It's funny, you never know who you're gonna meet or who you're talking to. Someone else that was sitting right next to us, I think this was a 3-day boot camp, and he was talking to my wife and I, and we had good conversation. Real funny, nice guy. His name is Sal. I forgot Sal's last, I think Sal Buscemi. I'm not 100% sure. But I had no idea who Sal was until later on, you know, again, because we exchange information also. But later on, I looked and come to find out that Sal was a hedge fund manager for $100 million fund. And you would never know it, sitting next to him, and we were interacting, joking, and sharing information. You know, my wife is a great note taker. So him and my wife were like swapping notes from the seminar, and it was pretty cool, you know. So I guess the point is, you know, be open to meeting new people, especially when you're in settings that are set up for networking and stuff. You know, be willing to step outside of your comfort zone and just say hello or whatever, and you know, get the person's information, you know, because you never know who you're talking to and who they are, and what you have to offer to them, and in turn what they have to offer to you. You know, one of my other mentors always says that some people are just doorways, you know, just doorways to who you're gonna meet, you know. So that's pretty cool. I've been on this live for a while. I guess because I'm driving and stuff and just talking. Hey, how's it going? I see someone just popped on. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check some of the other lives that I have. Like I said, every live, I just like to just share whatever popped in my mind, and just share like a little golden nugget, something that I think will be helpful. So hopefully you find value in it. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And, it motivates me when I see at least one person watching, and I know I look at the numbers on the replays, so people are watching, and I really appreciate that. So, like I always say, make it a great day. The weather is beautiful. Maybe I'll come on live again a little later. But nevertheless, have a very, very nice day. And thanks for watching. Bye.